In this video, I'm taking you on my group trip to the Galapagos. We're talking tortoises, flamingos, snorkeling with sea turtles, and even hiking a volcano. So let's get into it. Hi everyone! It is a very exciting day for me because I just woke up this morning in Quito, Ecuador. This is hands down one of my favorite countries. I spent a month here in 2022. And tomorrow I am heading to the Galapagos for my very first group trip. So today I'm just out kind of re-exploring some of my favorite spots here in Quito. A couple of guests are here already, so they'll be out exploring with me. And tomorrow we're heading to the Galapagos for 6 days of sunshine, wildlife, and tons of fun. So I'm going to be bringing you guys along on the journey. We have a short day here in Quito before we head off to the Galapagos, and I've just met up with a few members of my group, but most of them arrive tomorrow. So we're doing a little exploration of the UNESCO zone here in the downtown Centro Histórico. Quito's Centro Histórico is a great place to walk around. It's full of ancient churches and some fabulous architecture that blends European, Moorish, and indigenous styles. If you want to learn more about what to do here in Quito, make sure you check out my longer video on Quito, which is linked down below. Today was a ton of fun here in Quito, but now let's let this adventure really begin. I also just got some brand new suitcases, which are making my life a lot easier. And there's just something about new bags that really feel like you're gonna be transported easily to the next destination. I'm like, whoa! Whoa! The Galapagos. Nice. This luggage must be like that closet in the Chronicles of Narnia. Okay, I can't promise that you'll get to your next destination that quickly, but I can promise that Level 8 will make it easier for you to transport your luggage and in style too, which is why I'm really excited to be partnering with Level 8 for today's video. I've upgraded my suitcases to these Level 8 Voyagers set, and it's been great both for my adventurous travels for YouTube and also for my work trips where I have to carry a lot more equipment. The trustworthy pieces are sturdy, sleek, and crafted for adventure. I went with the perfect matching Voyager set, which has a larger check-in option and a smaller carry-on option in two-toned blue and gray. I love the 360-degree spinning wheels that are so silent this practically glides, and it makes it so easy to carry a lot of stuff or extra bags that you might need to throw on top of these. Now, the high-quality hardshell is also super lightweight, so you don't have to worry about going over the weight limit when packing all of your gear or equipment. But the most important thing for me is the anti-scratch surface because I'm definitely not very gentle when it comes to traveling. And I also love the inner lining that has convenient storage partitions for all the little items that you might have and waterproof pouches, which are fantastic to have when returning home from beach destinations or wet and muddy environments, which I seem to find myself in often. So before you head out on your next trip, head on over to Level 8 to grab your brand new travel companions. They come in an array of colors and sizes, and you can use my code AliceFord for 10% off by clicking the link in the description below. All right, we have landed in the Galapagos. All of the guests are still arriving, and we should all be meeting up in just a couple of hours. We are on the island of San Cristobal, which is also the first island I visited on my last trip here to the Galapagos. If you haven't watched that video, please go check it out. Last time I was here, I actually joined a small yacht and we cruised around a bunch of the southeastern islands. This trip is going to be a little bit different because we are taking some ferries and small planes from island to island, visiting 3 different islands and doing some of the different activities that you can do in and outside the national park. So right now, while everyone is arriving, I'm just coming to one of the nesting sites for marine iguanas, hoping to jump in the water too. San Cristobal has some of the best snorkeling and diving spots in the Galapagos. So our first full day, we headed out on the water for a full day boat tour where we would be doing a full loop around the island and stopping to snorkel and explore a few iconic spots, starting with Kicker Rock.
To take the picture with Kicker Rock, then we need to continue to a different place.
Kicker Rock is the remnant of a pyroclastic cone from the site of an old volcanic eruption, and it's one of the best places to go scuba diving and snorkeling. On my last visit to the Galapagos, I actually went scuba diving here and saw tons of hammerhead sharks. Because this has a deep ocean channel right between the rocks, it's a place that lots of fish, sharks, sea turtles, and other marine life come in flocks. So it makes for a fantastic place to snorkel in this kind of protected area far off the coast of the island.
We've just done our first snorkeling here at Kicker Rocks on both sides. We've seen all kinds of stuff. Hammerhead sharks, Galapagos sharks, turtles, tons of fish, and the day is just beginning.
After leaving Kicker Rock, we cruised over to Cerro Brujo, which is another part of an extinct volcano. It forms a sea cave here, and you can actually see right through to Kicker Rock. The Galapagos are a volcanic island chain, much like Hawaii. So you see a lot of these volcanic remains on all of the islands, some a little bit older than others, but it makes for a really stunning photograph if you can time it right. As we cruised farther along the coast, we had a total marine life fantasia moment as we came upon a herd or a pod of dozens and dozens of dolphins. It was wonderful, and everyone aboard the boat came to the front and looked into the ocean with wide eyes and wonder. We also saw pilot whales and a sailfish, something that no one on the boat had ever seen on the surface. After our display of dolphins, we landed on a small white sand beach, walked through some volcanic channels dotted with cactus, and jumped back in the shallow waters where dozens of sea turtles were enjoying the warm and nutrient-rich waters.
Wow, check out this beach. Just spectacular. We have spent the last several hours of today snorkeling, starting at Kicker Rocks. We came to this little part of San Cristobal, which is on the backside. Found one of the most amazing places I have ever snorkeled to see sea turtles. There were dozens of sea turtles, and I am not exaggerating, just so many. Oh, everyone is just taking in this last hour of the day to soak in this water on our private beach here. It's just amazing. It's our last morning here on San Cristobal. We are just packing up and heading over to Isabela Island, where we have 2 full days of adventure. Tortoises, volcanoes, and it's gonna be great. All right, next stop, Isabela Island. How's everybody feeling about our flight?
I made my peace.
Well, you guys haven't seen the plane yet, so it'll all make sense in a second. All passengers are accounted for. We have landed on the island of Isabela, which is a volcanic landscape. Looks a lot like the Big Island, and I'm really excited to explore it. So here in the Galapagos, there are actually over a dozen different subspecies of giant tortoises. Some of them have gone extinct, but it's thanks to breeding programs like this one here on Isabela Island that their numbers have steadily increased. There's about 35,000 or so tortoises living in the Galapagos today, and each island has its own subspecies. This island here in Isabela actually has, I think, around 6 or 7 different species. So this breeding center has a different subspecies in each one of these kind of bigger areas here that they're breeding, and tortoises of all ages. These ones behind me are actually 40 or 50 years old, and it's amazing how long tortoises live as well. Many of them in the wild live to over 100 years old. Many of them in captivity have lived up to 170 plus years. So they are just amazing animals. And the age of these tortoises is also one of the reasons why they so easily kind of went almost extinct in so many places. It takes them a very long time to reach maturity. They're not sexually active until the age of 25. So getting rid of just a small portion of the population can be really detrimental. And it's really exciting to be here just checking out some of these beautiful creatures. Baby tortoises. Isabela is the biggest island, and like every island here in the Galapagos, it has some really cool endemic species and some other migratory ones, one of those being the penguin. And we're hoping to see some actually out on this excursion. We're in an area called Tortoises, which actually means a white-tipped shark. There are some lagoons here and mangrove forest where you can see a lot of wildlife, sharks, turtles, hopefully some penguins too. Right now we are walking through some of this really volcanic landscape here and trying to see some blue-footed boobies and other birds.
The Galapagos penguin are the only penguin found north of the equator, believed to have been brought north from South America by the Humboldt Current, where they have now evolved in isolation into an entirely new species.
We've hopped back on the boat and we're going to hop in the water for some snorkeling. Besides penguins, there are also seahorses in this area, and that's something I've actually never seen snorkeling or scuba diving, so hopefully we see some. And one interesting fact about this island, Isabela, is if you actually look at Isabela from space or on Google Maps, this island is actually shaped like a seahorse. So I think we're going to see some. For me, one of the coolest parts about wildlife conservation is then getting to see the animals in the wild, which when we're talking about threatened or endangered species is so rare to be able to do that. But giant tortoises here, that's something that you can see. And right now we're exploring a little bit of the national park, and behind me is a real giant tortoise out here in the wild, part of this rehabilitation program that has brought this species and many of the subspecies back from the brink of extinction. The trail we've been on here in the park also goes to this beautiful freshwater spring where you can see tons of mangrove. Now, many of the islands have mangrove on them in some of the little lagoon areas. This is one of the most important species for kind of coastal areas to fend off erosion and protect the coastline. So pretty cool to see here. The wildlife just never stops here. We just got back from snorkeling here on Isabela, where we saw penguins, sea turtles, marine iguanas, and really experienced snorkeling among the mangroves, which was really cool. And now we've come to this lagoon, which is pretty close to our hotel here in town. And there are about half a
a dozen pink flamingos here. I've only ever seen these one other time. That was here also in the Galapagos on one of the other islands where I just saw a few, but very, very far off in the distance. And these ones have come really close to us here, so I've been able to get some really great shots of them on my long lens. But pretty awesome day for wildlife, and you just never know what you're going to see. It's always a surprise here in the Galapagos. All right, today we are trekking up to the Sierra Negra volcano here on Isabela Island. This volcanic crater is 6 miles, I believe, across one way. It is absolutely massive. This is an active volcano. It last erupted actually in 2018, and the view up there should be just absolutely fabulous. It's about 10 miles that we're going to be doing today, and everyone in the group is really looking forward to the scenery and the landscape that we're going to see up here. There are a ton of really unique plants up here, also some introduced ones, lots of guava trees, but this one behind me is called cat's claw. It doesn't really smell like much on the tree, but if you take a little piece off, it is really fragrant, and apparently this is used for local skincare products and also to treat some different ailments too. We're just walking around the rim of this volcano now, and it reminds me a lot of my trip to the Azores, which also is another volcanic island chain. This rim itself stretches 37 kilometers around, and there's no trail that goes completely around it, but the views, even on just this half, are just spectacular. We're just making our way actually down kind of outside the crater here to this area called Volcan Chico. Now, when Sierra Negra erupted in 2018, it actually went over the rim of the caldera and reached all the way down to the ocean. And right now we are seeing all of this old lava flow. So the landscape is just so different than it has been on the beginning part of this hike. There's also some mini volcanoes that we're gonna pass by in just a few minutes. Now we're just passing through one of these big lava flows here, or old lava flows, I should say. There's nothing active going on in this volcano right now. And one of the things that I learned yesterday that was really interesting is that a way to tell whether or not a volcano is explosive or not is by the debris that's left behind. Now, on this volcano, you find a lot of pumice stones, small pieces of rock like this that are really high in iron ore. And these kinds of volcanoes are actually not explosive. They will have lava flows, maybe some steam, but nothing super catastrophic. If you find a volcano that has big, huge boulders and rocks that have been thrown out of the volcano, usually higher in silica, these are explosive volcanoes, and those are what you'll find in the Ecuadorian Andes on the mainland. Good morning, everybody. Today we are on the island of Santa Cruz. We've come over on the ferry this morning from Isabela. We're just checking out some of the national park here in the Galapagos, checking out this awesome viewpoint, which gives us a great view of the whole town here. And we're heading over to the beach for a couple hours of relaxation. One thing the Galapagos Islands certainly have a lot of are beautiful beaches, because these islands are volcanic and once had a lot of coral off the edges of the islands. They have beautiful white sand beaches that are silky soft. Most of this is actually coral that has been just eroded by the sea, so it makes for some beautiful places to spend the day.
We have come over to the Darwin Research Center here on the island of Santa Cruz, and they have a lot of information where you can learn about some of the islands, also some of the research that Darwin did, and they also have a breeding center for giant tortoises. Behind me are some of the Galapagos tortoise. This is the tortoise that these islands were named after because Galapagos is actually the same word in Spanish for saddle. These guys are saddleback tortoises. They actually have really long necks and their shells are shaped kind of like a saddle so that they can reach up and grab cactus and other things that they like to eat. It's my last morning here in the Galapagos. Can't believe the trip is already over. It has been so much fun. Everyone had a fantastic time, and it's been really great for me seeing all the happy smiles as the guests that came with me here got to see really unique species. Everyone got to see what they were looking for. We saw penguins, hammerhead sharks, so many sea turtles, tortoises, and countless other birds and fish. So it's been fantastic. And I'm gonna be doing more of these group trips in the future. So if you wanna stay up to date with those, if you're not subscribed to my weekly newsletter, make sure you do that down in the description. You can also scan this QR code and join me on Patreon or online on my newsletter as well. So it just makes me really happy to see that other people get that same joy and excitement over seeing new places. So it's been a really great trip, and I'm heading back to Quito today. More adventures to come, so make sure you stay tuned to the channel as always. And I'll see you in the next adventure.